Yes, good morning. This is Christian Heitkamp from NiCE speaking. Welcome everybody to our webinar today. I'm pleased to have Lin and his team here on the call.
Okay, so let's get started. My name is Linh Nguyen, and I'll be presenting today jointly with Christian from NiCE, and we will go through there's a lot of content and also a live demo, and we want to make sure we cover all the topics that are essential to managing SAP environment. Therefore, we'll get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, you can type it into the chat, and we'll have folks on our team here who can respond to that. But we'll have about at least 10 minutes at the end to answer any specific questions. And if we need to go into more detail, we can either set up a separate conversation. But today's conversation will talk about the overview of the management of SAP environment, which is the vast enterprise application now that involves a lot of different applications and databases. Therefore, we want to give an opportunity to get a high-level overview of the complete SAP enterprise management within SCOM platform from Microsoft. Okay, thank you. So today, let's go through some introduction for the company in the background and how we come to provide a solution in this space. And then we'll talk about the solution overview as far as the different applications and platform and component infrastructure that System Center can manage in terms of our solution set for SAP. And we'll touch on the features and benefits for each of the products that fall into the suite. They all cover the basic alert management, availability monitoring, the performance monitoring, and then the advanced topics of synthetic transactions, specifically for some of the application or database areas that may have some advanced topics that we'll cover. And then we'll go into a scenario, a demo that will hopefully cover scenarios that a lot of the business today face when they run SAP. And so that will cover the main portion of the presentation. Then we have a Q&A, about 5 to 10 minutes at the end. Folks can raise the question ahead of time on the chat if we want to do that. We can cover all of those questions. Okay, so in terms of OZSoft and partnership with NiCE, we've been since 2013, and we've had a very successful partnership in terms of jointly providing smart application management for the enterprise, and particularly with SAP. And jointly, we have at least 50 years of enterprise experience managing the SAP, Oracle, and IBM, Microsoft, and now more recently, more Linux environment and systems management expertise involve in-depth experience from a global standpoint. Our teams are spread across the globe with R&D support and also consulting team. And we've deployed our solution at multiple customers worldwide around the globe. Some very large enterprises that use our solution to manage the everyday availability and performance of their system. So our solution profile really covers the breadth of the SAP suite. Primarily, if SAP customers today, when they run SAP, they don't just run one module or one application. It normally involves a suite of applications, and typically they are in a heterogeneous environment. Some may start out in one platform, and they might diverse out into multiple database, multiple OS platform. So managing that has become a full-time job for the IT operations team in terms of keeping systems alive, performing and providing the business the required functionality and features that they need in a timely manner. And so what we started originally at just doing SAP Netweaver application has grown out to other applications like BusinessObjects. And instead of just one or two databases, now you can encounter databases that are either Oracle, DB2, HANA, or even ASE that SAP purchased Sybase and have now provide that as full-time database that provide for online computing as well as data warehousing applications. Okay. So we'll talk about all of those solutions. SAP Background is what OZSoft really started 23 years ago in terms of the expertise that we have, that we offer today. So our product set come from our field experience in managing enterprise applications in the field for deployment and ongoing operations. And so today we provide consulting in the field of migrations, deployment upgrades, and then operationally performance management, best practices around tuning, optimization. So we did engage into customer where they have performance issues and they may or may not have tools that at their disposal. We do bring in expertise and tools to help them identify bottlenecks and optimize the environment. So what are our system management goals? Primarily in enterprise computing, it's not about monitoring just bits and pieces or components at the infrastructure level anymore. It's about helping to root cause, do analysis for making sense of the tons of diagnostic, especially when it comes to an enterprise app like SAP. A single system can have 1,000 metrics and alerts coming out of it in a production environment, and therefore making a platform ease of use in terms of getting those root cause, either events, alerts, performance metrics, those critical KPIs is very important to helping root cause analysis. And then, of course, having those information readily available, it helps to pinpoint problems, both on availability and performance. Now, availability and performance, they go together in enterprise computing because you could be available, for instance, in a system with multiple application servers, yet one of them could be down, it is degraded performance, or performance could be so bad that the user is considered to be unavailable because it's not performing the way it's supposed to perform. So even though it's up, performance may degrade the system, and therefore it renders its availability less than ideal. And then, of course, once you have the metrics and the alerts and mechanism and centralized operations, it helps to do proactive performance management. That means teams, either the admin team or the operations team, can pinpoint potential issues that are on the horizon, like utilizations that cross a certain threshold, that it can be proactive in terms of either scaling up or scaling out environment to help meet the processing demand of the business. So let's talk about the SAP Architecture. This is our flagship product, the SAP Management Pack. Typically, most customers who are traditional SAP customers would have either one or many applications that run on SAP Netweaver. And so the platform is a certified with SAP from terms of integration into external alert management system. So the architecture for our management pack is deployed a little bit different than the typical management pack from Microsoft or other vendors. We have an SAP connector, which is a service deployed on any Windows platform in the network. And that SAP connector will function as the filter and as the smart that interact with the SAP environment and then passes on to the system center via the SDK interface. So with the certified integration with SAP, we basically will allow you to filter database, application, OS, SAP alerts and infrastructure then can be extracted through the connector. And then we have sophisticated filtering there as well to bring the necessary performance alerts as well as availability metrics and post them into SCOM. And then from there, we support multiple ways of alerting as well as eliminating noise. This gives us ability to centralize the management of thresholds in SCOM. So most SAP customers, they run anywhere from 3 to 30 systems. And so the business of managing the thresholds, setting them on SAP side has basically become unmanageable. And therefore, providing SCOM as a solution, centralizing the ability to set thresholds and manage them centrally is a key benefit for using the solution. And we go beyond just doing the standard SAP CCMS metrics, which is the computing center management system within SAP. That's the method of instrumentation. We provide in-depth job monitoring, so that bypasses CCMS, goes straight into the job processing background, looking at the runtime status as well as the duration. We go also into advanced monitoring of synthetic transactions. If you're running data warehouse, we can also monitor process change, which is the key to processing a lot of jobs in SAP, especially in a BW environment, processing the data. And then we also monitor connections, which are part of the enterprise Most SAP environments are not just one system. They are interconnected with other applications, and therefore managing those connections are key to availability and performance of the environment. And we have sophisticated workload monitoring as well. So that means you can monitor down to particular users or transactions. If you have transactions that are part of, let's say, a business process like order to cash, they can be created and tracked so that their response times are measured inside System Center. So that is the solution high level. We'll go into the more detail during the presentation and the demo. This is an example screenshot of one of the dashboards. We'll also look at that. So from an SAP standpoint, that is the traditional client using SAP GUI to process the business like finance, CRM, or supply chain. But now, and more SAP customers are using analytical product, and BusinessObjects is the SAP product that uses for BI, so business intelligence in terms of reporting for sales, for enterprise performance management, etc. So BOBJ is the management pack that we provide to do the monitoring of BusinessObjects. Traditionally, customer only have a product from BusinessObjects, which is the CMS, and the CMS is Central Management System that basically is the platform for admin to monitor. Now, if you in an enterprise, you want to do monitoring, I think we have the only BusinessObjects management pack out there in the market. And again, tackling the ease of availability and alert management is the key. And then the performance metrics that we bring into BusinessObjects intelligence is providing a level of sophistication, because in a BusinessObjects environment, you could be running multiple enterprise nodes behind a single system. And so the ability to manage and monitor each of the services on those are very critical to processing the user request and query. So with this architecture for BusinessObjects, it is a native management pack. That means you import them to System Center. We don't have, as in the SAP management pack, we don't have a requirement to use a separate Windows server to run the service. So this one we do agentless monitoring, and as a sample here we can go into as well later on. Certainly from SAP customer standpoint, there's a majority of customers that are looking for doing high level of analytics, especially data warehousing customers, start to go towards the HANA, which is SAP in-memory database platform. And it's not just a platform for database anymore. SAP has provided the ability for custom application development and also third-party application to be deployed on HANA. And so HANA is becoming one of the flagship for SAP in terms of its database platform. We have customers that migrate from other databases. So you may see a mix of database platform at customers depending on their journey to HANA. So HANA is one of the very fast growing segment within SAP in terms of product set. It involves both from now the business warehouse application as well as the other application they call business suite. So you might have finance, ECC, you might have supply chain, you might have CRM. So this is growing. Our management pack is one of the first one on the market. 4 years ago, we built this product, working in partnership with SAP to provide the ability for SCOM to easily manage HANA environment. We have tests and supported HA and DI scale-out environment up to 12 HANA nodes. And you can imagine if you're managing that manually with no tools, even with SAP tools, the ability to manage a vast number of scale-out environment is very complex because they are in a cluster and any of the services could fail and essentially run on another server. The ability to know that when it happens, to monitor and manage it is very key. So we extend the ability to get the HANA alerts into SCOM. We then also manage those alerts in terms of ability to configure the severity. We also be able to filter and suppress them. And then from a performance standpoint, we monitor and manage the HANA environment down to the services. So individual HANA service provide different features and functionality. So the index server, for instance, monitors and manages the data requests from SQL. But you have many other services that could run on any of the nodes that you have in the platform. And they are also in a multi-tenant environment, which we support. We can monitor each tenant as a separate database. And so the ability to do that lets customer run a single HANA scale-up platform, but multiple tenant databases providing services to multiple applications. So we do support that configuration as well. This is the fourth management pack we have in the suite, which is the Sybase database that was purchased by SAP. Now its name is SAP ASE. So within ASE, I believe there's customers that are traditional SAP customer and they are non-traditional. Traditional customers from SAP are starting to migrate from other database platform to ASE. And so they're running most of their enterprise application on ASE as a database backend. The non-traditional customer might be a traditional Sybase customer that are running for financial application, etc. So the ASE management pack allow us to, again, take the approach for agentless monitoring of ASE, bring in the availability and alert management and also performance through ASE single installation or cluster installation. We're able to support the monitoring of ASE 15.7 up to the latest 16 environment. The idea here is, again, being agentless, we can support heterogeneous ASE environment, whether you're running on Windows or Linux or AAX. We basically deploy the management pack in SCOM and then agentlessly manage those environments. And that's the 4 management pack from OZSoft. And now I will introduce the management pack that Christian can talk about from NiCE, that also when we encounter SAP customers who run on Oracle or DB2, etc., and they want more in-depth monitoring than what SAP provides, then this is where the management pack provides the feature and value.
Yes, thanks, Lin. Yeah, basically our management packs for databases are consistent of the NiCE Oracle management pack and the NiCE DB2 management pack. And I picked here in this case the Oracle management pack as is the most commonly used for a database product that is a backend database for the SAP or also for the application. So this is not specific for SAP, so you can also pick any Oracle database that's being part of another business application that requires monitoring. The Oracle Management Pack is a product we've been developing for many years. The first Oracle monitoring at NiCE we started developing in 2001. And over the year, this product has matured. It is a very stable and a solution monitoring thousands of Oracle instances today. I'm not going to read through the list of features and benefits. So there's detailed information available on our website or also on our customer portal. I just put the 2 architectures in here because we have a real agent-based architecture, so we actually use the cross-platform agent. So let's say we have a Linux server where the SAP database resides on. We actually extend the actual agent which is on there. So the Microsoft SCX or my server agent that is running on there. That actually means we not using any connections that coming from outside, being a watcher node or anything like that, to go and connect to that Oracle database. The benefit is really here that you do not need to open any additional ports, that you can actually spread your resources across the Oracle servers, and your management group and your management server have no impact whatsoever from collecting that data, because the data is being collected and condensed at the actual agent level. So there are a number of pros and cons with agentless versus agent-based. Primarily, our customers use this agent-based approach where they actually extend the cross-platform agent on the Linux Unix side, but obviously you could also use agentless monitoring. It's fully support agentless monitoring with a couple of differences in monitoring, for example, for log files and space monitoring, where we actually need we actually run system calls on the actual Linux or Unix system to retrieve that data. And at the bottom, you see here on the left side the Oracle on Windows. So that is basically the same, using the agent with a provider, which hooks into the Microsoft monitoring agent and brings data from there into the SCOM environment. So again, here there's no watcher node. It will completely use the agent-based approach. In the end, this Oracle Collector application you see on the right side is the core of the product, which actually collects from Oracle all detailed information about table spaces, data files, transactions. It will actually also go into performance analysis. So if somebody logs in, or let's say we have this use case of the SAP environment, if, for example, one transaction is running very inefficient and for a very long time, basically there's a query which could be optimized by creating indexes. We could actually identify such queries by seeing that it has a very high table scan count, so it scans a lot of tables. So an index actually would help, so that gives them tuning information. So that information is collected, evaluated, and brought back into the SCOM environment, and then according action can be taken. In some areas, you have Oracle clusters. They are supported as well. You have automatic storage management below that. So any type of enterprise deployment you might have, we're very sure that we can support that. Through the separation of the data collection, data presentation here in this product, we also have a very secure approach. So we do not store any credentials in your SCOM database. Everything is maintained locally and encrypted on the Oracle server. So the same applies actually to the DB2 management packs. I haven't done a separate slide here just for information. I think I will go later in a demo environment where I can actually show that as well, but I think that's all for now from a slide perspective from my side. There's some reports. So Lynn, if you go to the next slide, we have some reports available that are part of the reporting server in System Center, where you can actually report on trends, you can report on availability. You could, for example, figure out which is my table space that's growing fastest, or when actually is the projection that I might run out of space on one of my table spaces. So these type of reports can be done from the reporting server within SCOM. So obviously also we have the full discovery you see on the left side here. So but I will show a bit more details later in the demo. So that's all from my side now for slides. Lynn, if you want to go ahead with the demo, please do so.
Okay, thank you. So on the live demo, let me take you through a typical day in the life of an enterprise SAP customer that utilizes front-end analytics platform like BusinessObjects. Typically, they're hooked up to an enterprise data warehouse in the back end for an SAP customer. That's also normally the business warehouse environment running on SAP Netweaver. And then Netweaver is backed up by a database that is typically one of the 3 or 4 that we presented, HANA being a very popular one at this stage. But it could be Oracle, ASE, DB2, SQL. So this scenario involves multiple systems and platform in order to service one user need. And in terms of the analytical user, they are typically management running reports, either month-end reports or any kind of sales report, sales team, etc. So this is kind of scenario we want to talk about, and because this is very important in terms of the ability to track the availability and performance throughout the life cycle of the user's transaction and query. Right, so within the SAP environment, our Netweaver SAP Management Pack will cover the monitoring of the multi-layer 3-tier architecture. That could be the GUI through to the application server, and then the backend database transaction. And then from the database standpoint, it can also be multi-platform clustered or single node, single DB, could be multiple tenant. But the query will come in and will serviced by the database platform. Right. From the business object standpoint, it could be a single node or multiple enterprise node scale-out environment servicing multiple web queries, or it could be also crystal report queries, and those will be sent to the back end. So that's the scenario that I want to talk about as we go through this. And I will now bring System Center into the picture. So what you see here is the System Center console, and our management pack where we start with will be the business objects. So the system health, this is the dashboard that we provide out of the box. Some of the other dashboards that we have for various different management packs something that we start with. Give you an example. We can customize more. They pull from the SCOM data warehouse that we push the content over, part of the monitoring. So in this, what we want to talk about is the alerting mechanism. We do pull these alerts from business objects, and we map them over to SCOM, and gives you ability to look at, when there are reports that fail from this one, gives you the reasons, etc. We map over the alert context from what we pull in. So all of that is there, and then also ability for you to map custom fields if you are doing notifications, etc., and want to use certain fields that are there. So the alerts are fairly self-explanatory. We do track availability based on the service level objective. In our standard setup is over the last 24 hours. For instance, we have 2 BO environment, 1 BI 4.0, and 1 is BI 4.2. This one was down last night, saves 50%. We have also the synthetic monitoring. So that means in terms of what synthetic means in business object, they are called probes. You can create probes in business objects, and then those probes will then launch, and on a regular basis you can measure response time, success of those probes. And so it becomes important to make sure that these function normally most of the time. So we pick up those probe execution times. And then there's lots of document processing in the BOBJ as well from various different processing server. So we measure the dashboarding, the crystal reports, all of these average processing times from the system. And then if you have web intelligence reports, these also measure the errors, if there's anything going on from the WebI. So the WebI is processed by one of the processing engine, and then also other queries. So this, in general, talks about the dashboard. Now, if we go to how it looks on these, actually, I think one of the main reason it's become very popular for analytical platform is this is an example of business object. So this world sales report that we see a failure on gives you very ability for drilling down and getting data, but each of one of these could be fetching data to the back end, right? So if your data is delayed because your back end queries is affected by performance, then the user will see that. Also, they see every time they run queries. For instance, this is one of the queries we put for performance testing purposes, but this query itself, draws data from the business warehouse back end from SAP. This is just one we mocked up, but it pulls millions of rows and then retrieves the data performance and then do the analysis and all that. So this actually is the front end, but it really logs on to a back-end system. As you can see, the enterprise is logged on to HANA BW environment. So that just gives you the context that what we're talking about. So let's go into back into business objects a little bit. I want to talk about what we do there. The configuration is very straightforward. We just basically provide the management pack. You import it in. You can then configure that in here, put in the license key, and choose the watcher node that's going to do most of the SCOM side. So you can pick any management node on System Center to be the watcher node. You can have multiple, and that will do the monitoring from there. And then once it's discovered, obviously we have systems. Okay. It will also show you the ability to drill in and see any of the health state from the system standpoint. So the enterprise node here has a warning. If I drill into that, so we draw information about the BOBJ environment, provide you the information here centrally. So for BOBJ specifically, if you run on Windows, we can also monitor the services that you have here. So multiple web AI server, services, central management server, etc. There is a Tomcat server as well that runs a central intelligence agent. We have ability to restart too if you want to do that. If the service is not performing, like this Tomcat and the SIA are two of the core engines that can be on an environment. And if on Windows, we can actually restart this. We find that to be useful for customers who might have some problems. They want us to automatically do that. And then once you discover, of course, all of the various services run by BOBJ are monitored here. also the props that you saw earlier. Right? So these props run on a regular basis. We discover them automatically. And then in business object, there's also a concept of jobs. We're not picking up this one here, but you see that in jobs, you can also pick up jobs that run reports on a regular basis. And then if you have multiple scale-out enterprise nodes behind one BOBJ environment, we monitor them and all of the services that they run. So that's kind of a high-level business object, and you can use this as like I say, agentless monitoring of the business object fairly easily. We just configure run as account, and it will connect to the CMS server and start picking up availability monitoring and also all of the component level monitoring. So this is the front end of it. Then we start going into the back end, which is the Netweaver application. So here's an example dashboard that we were showing in one of the slides. This is the actual live dashboard. So if you have a Netweaver environment running on any platform, could be Linux, Windows, Unix, running on any database platform, within deployment of our management pack, we can agentlessly discover the application environment. We can start monitoring all the application servers and the database. So SAP monitors some of the basic metrics for database. So we can discover that, but some of the more advanced database like HANA, SAP doesn't provide that out of Netweaver directly. That's why you need the SAP HANA Management Pack. But for some of the native ones, like SQL Server, etc., that does come through, and we can pick up that. So this dashboard is designed to give you an overview of the, let's say, response times on various systems, gives you availability of your systems, gives you the ability to look at the system configuration and how utilized those environments are, those queues that are processing user requests, either interactive dialog requests or batch requests. And then here, the log-on quality indicates the quality of the system in terms of how they function. So this is a core basis. We provide several one of these dashboards. So from these dashboards, for instance, I have one license message here for a system. These are alerts that come straight from SAP that we map over to SCOM. We have a sophisticated bidirectional alert management system with the management pack. That means you can close alert in SCOM, and if you enable the configuration to do so, it will complete the alert in SAP. And likewise, if you complete alerts in SAP and you want them to close in SCOM, bidirectional exchange can occur as well. Okay, so these alerts represent both CCMS alerts and SCOM alerts. So we do generate SCOM alerts, for instance, the background jobs monitoring that we do on systems. Those background jobs are not necessarily SAP alerts. These may be alerts that we pick up ourselves because we monitor jobs. So we can do that as SCOM alerts, as well as thresholds. So anything that comes in can be centralized within SCOM, apply across one application server or all application server for the system or all systems. So based on the SCOM override principle, you can then centrally manage all your thresholds within one place and apply it across all your SAP environment. So that is one of the advantage in managing a vast landscape of SAP ecosystem. Right, so I want to go into more on the SAP side because it is one of the largest management pack, and it's so far is the one that most customers start with. So from our various dashboards, we also have the similar health dashboard where we provide you the ability to kind of visualize in terms of the system. The details that are in the dashboards, I think some of them we deliver kind of unsealed. You can change them. So for instance, this one provides us ability to look into quick snapshot across all my systems in terms of all the alerts, all the database alerts, all the job alerts, and then for all of these base metrics, you can pick what system you want to show up. So server performance, database performance, and response times performance. So those are good high-level ones that the operations team typically can look at. We also support the ability to have a single view. So these are what we call clickable dashboards. This gives you the ability to say, I want to have a system. I can click on one system. It will show me the states, health state for that, availability and performance health, and then likewise the alerts that are associated to those will show down here as well. So multiple dashboards that you can give the ability to manage or get a high-level overview. And then, of course, all the different views that we have in terms of workload monitoring, very specific in terms of what kind of workload we support. Synthetic, in terms of the ECAP, this is a kind of something that runs in background SAP that simulates an online transaction. We also support the ability to run a log-on test. So you can designate a SAP GUI workstation to be able to run SAP transaction by getting on and starting the transaction. It gives you a feel that the system is available and you can initiate transactions. So those will be in the synthetic monitoring piece here, so we can show that there's SAP GUI, there's scripted, or they are the interactive SAP GUI. So various views present the monitoring for different perspectives. We can do connection monitoring. We can do the also advanced replication. So customers who run multiple SAP environment might use a replication product from SAP called SLT. It's called System Landscape Transformation. This is also one of the advanced monitoring piece that we can pick up. If you're replicating a schema between one database and another database, we automatically detect the state of the monitoring. What tables are you replicating? Are they working as they should be? Also from a latency standpoint, are they replicating the way you expect them to do? So there's going to be a lot of things that our sophisticated monitoring can pick up. We provide you out-of-the-box functionality to monitor multiple environments all at a single pane of glass through the console. But the simple one that I like to show here is kind of a nice heat map to show all the systems you have, all the different things that we pick up and discover and look at their health state. And then from here, you can, of course, go into various different health dashboards if you need to drill in to look at application server level, or you want to look at specific performance metrics. You can open those, look at the Health Explorer, for instance, and by default, only the unhealthy ones are there. But if I open this, it really shows the depth and the breadth of the monitoring that we do. There's lots and lots of monitors. A lot of them are delivered as disabled, but you can enable them if you wish. And a lot of the customers can go in here and change these as they need. So from the standard SCOM standpoint, you look at availability, configuration, performance, security. So a lot of the areas in the performance, you can see what we monitor, and all of those monitors can be made available in terms of if you want information, what we do monitor there in detail. Okay, so that covers the SAP portion. So what if it's the database specific and it hits like HANA? That's kind of where we have been spending a lot of time in developing the HANA environment for our customers, who indicate to us that, you know, it's not easy to manage a HANA environment where you may have multiple HANA environment systems, and each of them may have multiple nodes and clusters. So within this context, again, we bring in the alerts, we bring in the various services, how they are performing, and also from a space standpoint, even though HANA is in memory, there's a persistent layer, the volumes, the many volumes that are buried under for data and log captured by our platform. And as a native management pack, again, you don't need to deploy any agent. We will cover the monitoring just from the SCOM environment, designated watcher nodes, etc. So this is one of the dashboard that we provide. Let's go into a little bit more detail in terms of what we actually cover. So as I said, volumes, right? We look at the files that belong to the volumes, their state. Of course, the systems that we monitor. So each of these systems may have multiple nodes, could have a single node. There's different services that might be running, not running. So we've done extensive testing with customer when they're doing the HADR scale out. That can also be very helpful when you fell over. You want to see, you know, services that are running properly and the alerts that show up. Right. So in HANA, we can also support synthetic transactions, which means you can run SQL transactions against the database. We will fire those JDBC off, or you can store procedures, etc. services are covered in depth. So in a sophisticated environment, you might have a master and you might have standby servers. We cover those, we detect those, and we scale out and we monitor those environments. Okay. Also for schedule procedures in HANA is something called schedule procedures. There's plenty of them in the systems. If they don't run, they may not clean up some, let's say, garbage cleanup for memory, and it becomes a problem. So we can also look at those status of those schedule procedures in HANA. Replication is, again, a sophisticated topic for DR, and we do cover the monitoring of replication. Replication works a little bit different in HANA 1 versus HANA 2. For both of those environments, we can talk in detail if you want, but essentially, when they're in sync mode, the HANA system can essentially have latency and also a backlog in data that they replicate. So we actually have a replication health dashboard. That dashboard there will monitor the essential parts for the various replication you might be running. They may be backlog in terms of how many seconds they are behind, in terms of how much data is shipped every time that HANA ships the transaction log to the remote site. So this is talking about HANA as far as HANA system replication. Okay. So it's very in-depth in terms of what we do with HANA, and so I think our customers kind of tell us that it facilitates the central management from a sophisticated database platform that it gives it the ability to do that without having to log on to each environment and do that monitoring individually. Okay. So at this point, I think I will actually turn back to Christian if you want to showcase a little Oracle. We may have a little time here.
Sure, yes, thanks, Lynn. Let me present now a different management group in SCOM. So just stay on for a second here. Okay, Lynn, I think you see, can you confirm you see my SCOM environment?
It's loading.
Okay, loading. Great. Well, in this case, it's the SCOM management group consists of all the database products, including we have also the HANA and SAP management pack in here. So now in our use case, we would actually look at the Oracle side of the storage behind SAP. So let's put our Oracle DBA hat and say, well, we have an issue with an Oracle and we'd like to drill down into that area. So we would actually start with a dashboard, which typically helps to get an overview of the existing availability and performance of the product of, in this case, Oracle. So on the left side, we see our Oracle servers. We have 8 Oracle servers here. Each of them have different states, and then we need, typically we'll have a very deep understanding of tablespace data, so which is critical to understand how good Oracle is actually working. So in case we have issues on one of the table spaces, we actually would need to drill into that and see why this table space is filling up. On the other side, we see core information about database size development. We see sessions that are waiting and suspended sessions. We have some I/O in-memory information here, and at the bottom we can actually see the performance either in CPU or also memory usage of the environment. So this basically gives a first overview, but let's say, well, if you have like an issue like on table space, we'd like to actually drill in there more. That we actually offer here are the heat map views, which actually are these type of colored views. So we actually see our 8 Oracle servers. Each of them has a number of table spaces, and when we hover over, we actually can identify those table spaces which are having little space free, and we'll actually see, well, in this table space it's 16%, here it's 51%, 38%. So we very quickly actually gain information on where trouble might be lying, and we can start troubleshooting from that angle. As I already mentioned on the slide before, we actually offer tools, or in SCOM speak, we have tasks that will help us to diagnose further information. So these are called diagnostic tasks. So for example, example, if an issue occurs, we automatically run some diagnostic tasks to retrieve additional information. That could be, for example, as I said in the previous use case, there's a query that actually uses a lot of table scans, hence makes everything slow. These will create an alert, obviously, if the threshold is violated, and then from that we can actually go and see the actual SQL that is running on this Oracle instance and causing these number of table scans. As well, if somebody just logs in PLSQL or in the SQL console, SQL Plus, issues a union all, a very expensive statement, it will hang on the CPU. At the same time, we can also look at the current running CPU queries on that Oracle system to retrieve the information about those and get information who those are, which those are, and can handle them accordingly. With that, we have also all details on Oracle clusters. So if you're using ASM, if you have real application clusters or data guard, there are specific monitors for each of those scenarios available. We have about 60 different performance counters in the product. You can also use to analyze performance if need is. But still, the basic monitoring is very reliable and based on actually connection simulating that in case an Oracle database has some issues, you will immediately receive an alert. Also, we support now Oracle 12 databases with pluggable data and container databases. And obviously everything is ready for SCOM 2016 and fully supported. So I could probably give a lot of more details here in this area as well, but I actually like to hear some questions if there are questions on the call. So I'll stop my presentation at this.
We have dealt through about 4 or 5 different management packs. But really, the high level is to be able to manage a vast landscape of applications and interconnected databases and systems in order to provide a high level of service to customers. And so the ability for us to do this within the System Center, reaching out to an enterprise complex application environment and do that with very light touch, quick deployment is kind of the key here. So I really wanted to thank you for listening. At this point, you know, we have so many topics that we can talk about, but we want to make sure that we've addressed some of your questions. If you have any specific to any of the management pack, if you want to see anything more, we'd be happy to take those questions now. And feel free to unmute yourself if you have questions. If not, you can always reach out to us at those various different contact information and send a query. We are happy to do a one-on-one demo as well for any customers that are interested in looking at a product specifically or even installing a trial on their environment. Our trials are downloadable. We can provide them, and then you can have a temporary license where you can run the trial. Most of the customers who purchase the solution have already in their dev and QA environment. So the trial are very easy to set up and configure. So we can help you remotely as well online to do that as well if you want to do.